Everything's on fire. Everything's on fire. Everything's on fire.
Welcome back to the Dynasty HeatSeekers live stream and podcast. I'm your host here with the normal Anthony and Jason, and also the legendary Brad Menendez. That beard, man, you got those grays coming in. Seems like a long day at work.
Yeah. This is a 1 hour show, so we'll just move on from that. It was a long day for sure. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good.
I'm good. What about you, Jason?
Doing good. Pretty good.
Good. And today we are talking AFC and NFC West. We talked about the East last week. So we're just progressing right into the West this week. And Anthony, who do we have next week? Is it the North or the South?
That's a very good question. We have the North next week. Following week, we have the South.
All right. North next week, South the week after. Also, sometime during this live stream, we will also have the drawing for the winner of either Madden 2021 MVP edition or their choice of that, or a Fanatics $100 gift card so they can buy all their fan gear for this upcoming season. So stay tuned. At some point in this live stream, we'll do that. We had 53 people that entered, so you got a 1 in 53 chance if you're sitting here watching for a free hundo. Pretty exciting. I know a lot of people around here like Madden and video games, so I expect that'll probably be the ticket that a lot of the guys want. But if you're looking for a jersey, $100 off ain't bad. All right, news and notes. Before we get into news and notes, make sure you hit that like and subscribe so next time we do a contest, you're already ahead of the game. Anthony, what do we got on them news and notes?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest news this week may not be the most fantasy relevant, but Alex Smith is off the PUP list, and he has kind of, I don't know if you've seen that 11 and everything that he went through, but it's just phenomenal. So it's good to see Alex Smith back, and I think maybe he'll compete this year for the starting position. That's kind of what I think might happen in the early going here. What do you guys think about that?
Brad, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, in this offense, anything's possible. Haskins didn't look like he was developing all that well last year, and I'm not sure if Rivera trusts a young quarterback with his offense as he's trying to build. So, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Alex Smith has never been amazing, but he's always been a strong leader, and it shows. I mean, coming back from that kind of injury, I mean, Joe Theismann couldn't do it, was that 20, 30 years ago when it happened to him. So, we'll see. I hope the best for him. I think that's an amazing recovery. What about you, Jason?
Yeah, I think he's a great teammate, great team player, and I don't know if he's going to, compete for the starting job necessarily, but, I mean, he's going to be gradually worked in, and brought back because they're going to take it easy on that knee. He looked pretty nimble to me, but, yeah, I think that, they're going to ease him in, and it's just going to be, I'm pretty excited for him, honestly. It's amazing what, his comeback story is. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if he's healthy, I wouldn't be surprised if he was a starting quarterback. They've already said that it's an open competition there in Washington, and Alex Smith's a good quarterback. I mean, the last full season that he played was an MVP type season with KC. Obviously, we haven't seen him much with Washington, but I think he gives them the best chance to win with his experience and skill. So, they've also got that young guy there in Haskins that they probably want to get experience and see what they've got. But Alex Smith could end up being the best quarterback on that team, no doubt.
Yeah, and for Haskins' sake, it may not be, a bad thing if he needs to, sit behind and watch Alex Smith to start the year. I don't think that's going to be a bad thing. So I think if you have him, just hold on to him and kind of see how it plays out. But the next item here on the news and notes, Jalen Hurd tore his ACL. That was confirmed today. News broke of that yesterday. That was confirmed. Maybe Dante Pettis. I know. I think Rick. I think you mentioned that. I don't know what you guys. I guess Rick, you can start us off with that. If you think Dante Pettis is a name now.
Oh, I think he has to be just because they don't have any other options as long as Hurd and
Debo.
Debo. I was going to say
Yeah.
Brad's guy Debo. As long as they're out, it goes to Hurd, and then you've got Kendrick Bourne and
Trent Taylor.
Trent Taylor.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets really thin. So if Dante Pettis is ever going to give us what we thought he was going to, or what a lot of people did, then I think now's the time. And I think that leading up to the season, we're going to hear Dante Pettis hype. We get it every year, so why wouldn't we get it in a year where he actually might be the number one wide receiver on the team?
Yeah, where he has the opportunity.
Yeah, he definitely needed, he needed some time to mature, and I'm hoping that this helps him. But quite honestly, if I had any shares of him, as soon as this happened, I'm trying to sell him. Like, get out and move on, because even if he does get the opportunity, it's going to be short lived. Debo's going to be back in, 4-6 weeks, something like that. And I fully expect San Francisco to try out some receivers, maybe bring in some more competition. I mean, it just, they haven't shown a whole lot of faith in him thus far. I don't know what's going to change. So if I had Pettis shares, I would try to move him. Jason, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Pettis is going to get an opportunity, of course, and I would also do the same. I would try to trade him as fast as possible if anyone has got any hype on him. So, I was kind of bummed out about Hurd because he was one of my top sleepers. I was pretty excited for him. He's pretty talented, but he was transitioning from a running back to a wide receiver. So he's still got time to heal up, and I'd still stash him. I wouldn't necessarily drop him. If you could put him on your IR, just keep him and see what happens in the next year.
Yeah, and if I'm correct, they haven't announced that it's an ACL. That's what they fear, right? So it might not be as bad as we're presuming at this time.
I saw today that it was confirmed on one of the 49er groups I'm in, just because that's my team. So I'll try to confirm that better, since we're going to talk about the Niners later anyway. So I'll try to find out exactly if that is confirmed or not.
Yeah, I just, the last I had heard, I didn't look into it. I'm not a big Jalen Hurd believer. Not necessarily that he can't make it, but it's just I haven't put any of my money there, so I haven't really looked that deep into it. Other than that, what news and notes we got?
The only other item that is, other than camp hype, that kind of is newsworthy for fantasy is Josh Oliver, tight end for the Jaguars, is done for the year. He broke his foot. He's going to have surgery. I don't know if Rick, if you think that, I mean, I guess end of your bench, kind of a tight end, maybe. I don't know what you think about him.
No, I think Oliver was a guy, that has some potential, but I think there's a better tight end on that team right now, and his only thing is staying healthy. He's not going to play, he's not going to play every down. He's not going to be out there for 65% of the snaps or anything. He's probably going to be 40 to 45% of the snaps. But as long as Eifert's healthy, I mean, he has shown over his career that he is a superior talent at the position. But at least he's coming off a year where he was healthy for the majority of the year, and at least it's not concussions like it is with somebody like Jordan Reed. But back issues aren't, they say once you have back problems, you always do. But, I could see a similar role for Eifert as like Gronk's going to have in Tampa Bay, right? He's probably not going to be out there for the majority of the snaps, but he's going to be out there for the important ones. And I would expect that from Eifert anyway. So Oliver may not have had a lot of fantasy relevance in 2020, but he is a guy that you can get for free now and stash if you've got a spot and you're hurting for tight ends. Especially in 2 tight end leagues or tight end premiums.
Right.
Brad?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. That's about all I got to say about that,
Cool.
Jason.
I'd say just put him on your IR. I mean, yeah, he's basically free now. I wouldn't let him, take up a roster spot by any means. But yeah, I think he's got potential, and it's unfortunate what happened.
All right, so that is the end of our news and notes for the day. So, just so everybody knows, feel free to ask any questions that you've got in the chat, no matter whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, and we will get to that after the main segment, which is after we talk about the NFC West. We will answer those. But we'll get right into the AFC West. And Jason, you've got the first team, the Juggernauts, the reigning Super Bowl champions, Patrick Mahomes, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes, sir. So yeah, obviously you got Mahomes, who's probably one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I personally think he is, and he's gonna put up, fantasy football numbers. He's gonna put up a ton of numbers, and he's gonna be very productive. You got CEH, who they just drafted. A lot of guys are taking him in the first round of startup drafts. That's kind of crazy, but I'd probably take him more in the second round. But if you need to get your guy, he's going to get a lot of opportunity. And Tyreek Hill, speed kills. He's one of the most electric wide receivers in the game, hands down. Then you got the Jet out there, Miko Hardman. He should be much improved, and I think Watkins coming back really hurt his rising value. Watkins is obviously going to see the field, and he's going to take over some targets. He's a bigger guy, so it's just a matter if he can last through the whole season. Travis Kelce's one of the best tight ends in the game. Obviously, he's a target hog. Pat loves to throw it to him, and I think if one of the sleepers on the team is Ricky Seals-Jones, because if Kelce goes down, Ricky becomes tight end one instantly.
Brad, any thoughts there?
Everybody knows what's good about this team. The only real player on this team that I'm not interested in is Watkins. Just because I don't do a lot of best ball. I mean, he's kind of the big best ball guy. Other than that, everybody's high on CEH. I don't think I'm nearly as excited about him. I mean, think about back when we were doing rookie drafts. What was he at the 10, 11 spot for most rookie drafts? I'm not taking him higher than the Jonathan Taylors. I like some of these other running backs better, but everybody's got their thing. So other than that, I mean, all the other guys are who they are. Everybody knows they're studs.
Anthony.
Well, I've been big on CEH from the beginning. So I projected him to get taken at a good spot. He did. And so, I agree that maybe first round might be a little too early. But, he has the upside. PPR, he's going to be involved. There's really nothing in his way now. The only question I have is, Damian Williams opted out this year. He should be back next year, so it'd be kind of interesting to see how that comes into play. But I'm all in for CEH, and I agree with everything else Jason said.
Yeah, this team is a juggernaut, and that's no secret. My thing is you've got Tyreek Hill, a top 12 player. You've got Kelce, the top tight end, or number 2, depending on who you are. And then you get CEH coming in here, and I feel like he's got to take a lot from everybody to reach his value. And I don't see it happening because I just don't. He's a better pass catcher than Hunt, but he's not as good as a runner as Hunt. So I don't know. I just don't know how that's going to play. I don't know how he's going to reach that value that he's got. So that's my only concern there in KC.
Yeah, I think he's a sell. If you have him, if you got him in a rookie draft, his value is so high right now. I think he's a sell for sure.
All right. Is there anything else on the Chiefs?
What's left to say?
They're awesome, and you want as many pieces as you can get, at least on the back end, because if there is an injury to anybody, you should be rostering, Darwin Thompson, Dwayne Washington, any of the backups should be rostered, because if they get a chance, they're going to blow away their value. They're going to be. They're going to be fantasy relevant if they get a spot. So those guys should be rostered. They should not be on the waiver wire in your league. So Make sure you take a look at those guys if they're available. Brad, we have the Los Angeles Chargers.
We are team one of the two Hard Knocks teams I have tonight. Pretty straightforward offensive wise. Tyrod Taylor's going to be the starter at least immediately. Justin Herbert, they'll bring along. I don't know how quickly he'll see the field. That kind of is going to be determined based on how the team does. But Tyrod Taylor, the issue's never really been his leadership. Like, I think as long as he's healthy, he should lead this team and should have a good fantasy season. Running back, we got Austin Eckler, Justin Jackson, and then one of my favorite running backs in this class, Josh Kelly. And then a wide receiver, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Joe Reed, and KJ Hill are about the only ones that are semi-fantasy relevant. And quite honestly, it's really more Keenan Allen and Williams. But Reed and Hill are rookies that people are interested in. And then Hunter Henry. So on the running back front, they're the only interesting group to me when it comes to really any fantasy discussions, because we kind of know what the rest of the team is. So with Melvin Gordon gone, they freed up 162 rushing attempts and at least 55 passing targets. So those are just targets, not receptions. I'm interested to see how that transpires, because I think Austin Eckler we saw his ceiling last year. At his size and the way that he plays, I don't know that he can really add more rushing attempts. You saw a lot of what he did in the passing game. He had almost 1,000 yards receiving, and and a lot of his work was done through the air. So I'm interested to see how they split those 162 rushing attempts. I think Justin Jackson only had 20 or 30 last year, and he's been a name people have been interested in, but he just doesn't. He's kind of a banger, and he doesn't really have any big playability. So I don't really know how much they're going to throw at him, but he's there, so we'll see. I'm excited about Kelly, and I think the rest of the guys that I mentioned have some fantasy interest. If I didn't mention their name, I have no interest in them. Jason, what do you think about the Chargers?
Yeah, I think Tyrod's a pretty good option, a cheap option, obviously. He's a two-way player. He can run, get you some points there. And then Eckler is probably one of the only guys that I want on that offense, to be honest. He's going to be all over the field. He's gonna be scoring their points. And but they got Keenan Allen. They're gonna be slinging it to him. He's gonna, he always puts up his numbers every year. He's pretty consistent. And a lot of thing is his health. A lot of people question his health. It's always a question for him.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the guy's a gamer, and he's gonna prove it, and he's gonna have a great year. Another guy that I'd want would be Hunter Henry. He's a great tight end. I think he's gonna bail out Taylor a lot early, and if they put Herbert in. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm kind of confused why Brad doesn't think Justin Jackson has big playability. I mean, the guy only had 20 carries last year, but he had 200 yards. He averaged almost 7 yards a carry.
Did you watch the carries?
Yeah, he had a 40-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, he had nothing. He had nothing to worry about. Like, if you look at when he got hit, the guy went down. Like, he's very Rojo-like. When you hit him once, he doesn't fight through tackles very well. So a lot of his big plays were I could have hit that hole and been gone. I mean,
yeah, get out of here.
Sorry, go ahead, Anthony.
No, I mean, that's all. I mean, I think Rick has similar thoughts on this as well. I can let him chime in on that.
Well, I think there's a lot of pieces on this team that are definitely fantasy relevant. I mean, Mike Williams went over 1,000 yards last year. He had 10 touchdowns the year before. There's no reason why he can't put those two together. So for his price, I think there's definitely some upside there. Keenan Allen is the most underrated wide receiver almost every year in and out. Eckler might catch 100 balls this year. And Hunter Henry's great. And then Justin Jackson, it's TBD, right? I mean, it could be Josh Kelly. I'm not a Josh Kelly fan, but, can Jackson even stay healthy? I don't know. But once you get past that, man, it does get rough. It is a lot of question marks. But, those 4 weapons there, or 5 weapons there, and then even Tyrod as a fill-in and a stopgap streaming quarterback. Like, he's got some running ability, and then he is a great deep ball passer. And that's why I think Mike Williams could really break out this year. You know, he's kind of had like a half breakout the past 2 years, right? He got half of what you want. You want 10 touchdowns out of your wide receiver, and you want 1,000 yards. He just didn't get them in the same season. So maybe he can get those put together this year. And I've never even been like the biggest Mike Williams fan, but I mean, Tyrod might be the perfect quarterback for him right now. All right. I had some YouTube issues. Apparently, it didn't start on the one that I had set up pre-show. So I shared the link in the chat, and I got everything moved over. So that's why I looked disinterested. It wasn't because I was disinterested. I was just trying to get stuff working. So, Anthony, we've got the Las Vegas for the first year Raiders.
Yeah.
My buddies that live out in Vegas keep sharing pictures of the stadium, and it just, I mean, it looks great. It looks great.
Yeah, this is one of the local teams. I live in the East Bay. I'm a Niner fan, but I'm out here in the East Bay, so I think a lot of Raider fans are going to get used to the idea that they're not local anymore. They're still on their radio coverage a little bit, so I still hear a lot of news and notes, kind of like what's going on with the team. But a lot of people are looking forward to Derek Carr having a better year. He actually had a pretty, I'd say, efficient year last year. He was 70% completion percentage. He threw for over 4,000 yards. He had 21 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. So a lot of people think, especially now with the new weapons they've brought in, he's going to have a really good year. A lot of hype is kind of built around the Las Vegas Raider team. At running back, Josh Jacobs is back. He had 1,150 yards on the ground last year, 7 touchdowns. They think he's going to get more involved in the passing game, and if so, his value should creep up already where it's at. Behind him, Jalen Richard. They paid him a lot of money to be the receiving back, so he should still kind of be in the mix. And then they've drafted Lynn Bowden, who, if you have him, I think he's a solid hold, but I wouldn't expect much, especially his rookie season. Wide receiver, Tyrell Williams, another guy they paid a lot of money to. He was hurt last year. He should bounce back, should be in the mix, I think. Hunter Renfrow, same thing, second-year guy now. Should be in the mix early on. I think he's a good sell candidate, though, especially if he starts off strong. And that's because they've brought in, through the draft, Henry Ruggs, who's a speedy guy who should take a lot of, I think, his work on the field. And then Brian Edwards, who's getting a lot of hype of late. You guys may have seen some of that. This guy's just a complete freak athlete. He's got size. He's got hands. He can run routes. I mean, the only reason why he fell in the draft is because of his foot injury, and now he looks like a bargain if you were able to score him in late second, third rounds of your rookie drafts. Finally, at tight end, Darren Waller. He was kind of a surprise out of nowhere last year. He should have a great 2020 season as well, especially because of COVID. The rookies aren't going to have a lot of time to kind of gel, get used to the system. So I figure to start the year, Carr, Jacobs, Tyrell Williams, Hunter Renfrow, maybe some Brian Edwards, and then Darren Waller should be a huge presence on this team. I'm excited for the Raiders, and I think if you have a lot of these guys, or even just some of these guys, you're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I can't disagree with any of that. Tyrell Williams he scored like a touchdown in his first 6 games with them last year or something.
Yeah.
He's got potential. He's been 1,000-yard receiver. And then I'm Edwards over Ruggs all day. I think Edwards is going to be the better NFL wide receiver, and Ruggs is going to be the better big play threat. I'm not comparing them, but think like the duo of Hopkins and Fuller, right? Just one's the solid in and out play-by-play guy, and then the other guy's the boomer bust guy. I don't think Jacobs gets near that 60 catch mark that they're rumored to, or that he says he wants to catch. Obviously, I would love to catch 60 passes in the NFL this season, but that's not going to happen. I just think that with Bowden and Richard being involved, it's just out of the question. I don't see him going from 18 or 20 that he had last year to 60. And that's my only knock on Jacobs. He's a great runner. He's one of the best in the NFL. So I like the kid a lot too. So I hope he has success. But this is a team that's probably going to be trailing a lot, and they're probably going to have to throw a lot. Because I don't really see that defense holding up with some of the offenses they got to play a couple times a year. Brad.
Yeah, I mean, everything Anthony said was pretty solid. It's interesting to me when you listen to Gruden talk. He's really high on Mariota right now, so I don't know if that's coach speak to try to get Carr moving. So you have to kind of read between the lines. I know I went back when they signed him. I went back and watched the was that Gruden's camp or whatever he used to do, where he'd bring the guys on and he'd kind of talk through plays with them. And I watched some of the after footage, and Gruden really does seem to like Mariota. I mean, he talked very highly of him even back then. So it'll be interesting to see how that all transpires. I don't know that either Carr or Mariota is kind of the long-term solution, just because Carr seems like the better passer. Mariota seems like he could be better fantasy relevant, but neither one of them really excites me. Bowden, I think, is a cheap hold. I think some people are kind of down on him just because there is some other things happening there. Jacobs is really solid and all that. So I try to acquire him for cheap and kind of stash him if you could. Other than that, yeah, I'm not a Ruggs guy at all. If anybody who hasn't done fantasy long enough, he's kind of Marquise Brown. You're going to get a couple big weeks out of him, 4 to 5 big weeks. Other than that, you're going to have to guess when he's going to blow up. So I'll pass. Right. So what about you, Jason?
Yeah, no, I like everything Anthony said. I think Carr is going to bounce back into fantasy relevance because he's going to be so busy. I think Jacobs will also be very busy as well. I hope he catches a lot more passes because it seemed like in college that he was more of a pass catching back, and they would get him out wide and make a play. And then you got Ruggs, who they just brought in, who's going to be their vertical threat. But yeah, like you said, Brad, he's going to be a boomer bust more than likely to begin with. But maybe he could prove to be somewhat of a consistent producer. He just got a lot to learn. He's pretty raw. I think Edwards is the real deal for sure. He's their stud. And then you got Waller, who's also a stud that just came out of nowhere and blossomed. He's a great athletic tight end, and he's going to be really busy. And I think he's going to have a big year.
Yeah, one thing to finish them off, I will say that Gruden has always his coach speak comes true way more often than a lot of other coaches in the NFL. He kind of just tells it like it is, and I wouldn't be surprised if Carr lost his job this year. They paid Mariota a lot of money. Not that Mariota's great, but if Gruden likes him, and there's always seemed to be a problem between him and Carr for some reason. Like it's like they just haven't meshed since he got there. So I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. What's that?
I think he likes more mobile quarterbacks. He wants the guys that can get out of the pocket and make plays. Carr's more of a pocket thrower, and he's kind of struggled here and there. And his job it could be on the line. Really, it could.
What were you gonna say, Brad?
Not a thing in the world.
Oh,
I didn't say anything.
I thought you were getting ready to say something.
Nope.
Okay, so I have the Denver Broncos, and this is probably one of the most hyped teams on an offensive side. It kind of reminds me of that Cleveland team from a couple years ago when they, added Landry and Chubb and all that. Well, before Odell got there, it was Antonio Callaway was hyped up, and there was just an Njoku, a lot of hype around that team going into 2 years ago, and we're seeing kind of the same thing with the Broncos, right? Last year they added Locke and Cortland Sutton's there, and this year they had Judy and Hamler, and they added Fant last year, and then they bring in Melvin Gordon, and Phillip Lindsay had already been a fantasy stud over the past 2 years. Royce Freeman, a lot of people still holding the hope out for him. So there's just a lot of names to go around there, and then even Tim Patrick's had flashes, and then so going into this year, like I think that Locke is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the league right now, and it's not because I don't like him, but it's because people are just so high because he had a bunch of pieces added around him, and I don't even think they were really void of talent last year. I mean, they have more talent this year. You know, Jerry Judy's a big add. But you know, I guess Fant was young and Sutton's still maturing and everything. Uh, but yeah, I mean, good luck trying to figure out the whole running back situation because I don't think that any of them are going to get all the work. You can't just bring Melvin Gordon in and then sit Lindsey. Royce Freeman's been all right. He hasn't been great, but you drafted him fairly high. You got to try to get something out of him, so maybe you can trade him. That was a rumor earlier in the offseason. But yeah, I mean, good luck trying to figure that out. But I think our targets are going to be truncated to Fant, Sutton, and Judy, and then maybe a boom play from Hamler every now and then. Jason, what are your thoughts on the Broncos?
I totally agree on everything you said. Absolutely, that's what I was
Boom!
going to say.
Nailed it!
To a key, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, Locke, his expectations are so high. Consistency concerns is what is the biggest thing for me. He's got weapons around him, though. I mean, they're building around him. They're going to give this kid a chance. Melvin Gordon, he's going to be the workhorse, and they're going to dump it off to him, and see what he can do still. Sutton, he's my breakout wide receiver coming into 2020. No one really seems to be talking about him that much. I think he needs to get his value up a little bit because this kid's a stud, and they brought Judy in to help be kind of the safety blanket for Locke, the guy that can run all the routes and, make a play. And then I also like Hamler a lot. He's a field stretcher with excellent speed. I think he's going to, be one of the top waiver pickups if he's still on the waivers for any reason. But, yeah, then you got athletic tight end and Fant. I think he's going to be really busy this year. So what do you guys think?
Well, you said you want to get Sutton's value up. I don't want it up. I want to keep it down low where it is so I can get him in more of my
Yes,
oh my God, you sound like one of them terrible fantasy podcast analysts, man.
No, I'm being straight. I love Sutton a lot. And, another guy people are kind of sleeping on a little bit is Philip Lindsay. A lot of people are worried about, Melvin Gordon coming in and getting all the work. But, Lindsay, he kind of has a chip on his shoulder. He came into the league. A lot of people didn't believe in him. He made the Pro Bowl. He got injured. But, I think he's going to get involved a little bit more than people are thinking. I mean, it kind of reminds me of Melvin Gordon with Eckler. It's not like Melvin Gordon is just going to totally take over every carry, every reception. I really do think Lindsey's at a good value right now, and he's one of the guys that I'm targeting as well in a lot of my leagues.
Brad, did you speak on the Broncos?
No, I didn't. Sutton's a wide receiver one. I mean, the dude had like 1,105 or 6 touchdowns last year. I mean, he's already one of the better receivers in the league, and if people are sleeping on him, then they're done. Like, I mean, he's just so good. My concern is just that there's, just like some of these other teams we've talked about, like Cleveland a couple years back. I mean, there's just so many mouths to feed. And that concerns me because then you get into the game where you're having to guess on game day who's going to be the guy who gets it. And that always makes it difficult. So I target the big guys on the team, Sutton, Noah Fant, because he doesn't have a lot of competition for in his position. Now, obviously, he's got a lot of competition for targets because of how they spread the ball out potentially. But, I look for kind of the guy at the position. At running back, I'm concerned because I don't know who that is. I don't like Melvin Gordon. Never been a big Melvin Gordon fan. Philip Lindsay would be the guy I would want, but even at that, I mean, he might be maybe RB2 some weeks. Just because of how much they may spread the ball out. So you just have to be careful about that when you're deciding who you're going to go with. Some of these guys are more depth plays just because you can't trust them on a week-to-week basis. Maybe now, obviously, as we get into the season, maybe Gordon was just a security blanket because we know Royce Freeman's been hurt some. So maybe Gordon was brought in to kind of make sure that they've got a really nice complement to Lindsey. I don't know. I would still go after Lindsey if I were going after a back in this offense, though.
Yeah, I'll just counter that with the problem is the only one that catches any passes is Melvin Gordon, and everybody will tell you, I've never been a Melvin Gordon fan. Very inefficient runner.
Right.
Lindsey is the most efficient runner on this team. No question about it. He is.
Right.
But, PPR leagues, that pass catcher is probably going to be Melvin Gordon. And then, everything else everybody said. Sutton's a beast. Just point blank. And hopefully Judy makes it because he was my number one receiver this year. Rookie receiver. All right. That will finish up the AFC West. Moving on to the NFC West, I'll start us off with the Arizona Cardinals, and everybody that knows me knows that the first guy I got to talk about is my boy Kenyon Drake. I've been pumping him up for the better part of 3 years now. I was the one celebrating when Miami finally traded him. Said thank you for freeing Kenyon Drake. People still were skeptical, and then that dude went in like 3 days later. He had been on the team for like 3 days, and then he does something fantasy-wise that David Johnson hasn't done since 2016 and scored however many points he scored. But he had a big game. Even against a couple games down the stretch against the 49ers in one of the games and Tampa Bay in another, he, while rushing's always tough against those teams, he found ways to score points through the air and punched in some touchdowns and was a beast down the stretch. I'm so excited for a full season of Kenyon Drake outside of Miami. Just had to get that off my chest talking about the Cardinals. These guys will tell you, man, it's 3 seasons I've been saying this dude's got talent, and all it was usage. 2 years ago he was running back 14 and he averaged less than 12 touches per game. Like that's pretty gross. So yeah, I'm glad he's going to be the guy getting all the touches. But they also added DeAndre Hopkins, and he's a top 12 player in Dynasty. He's probably wide receiver 3 or 4 at worst on your rankings. And he's going to help every other receiver in this group, right? Because he's kind of where Fitzgerald was 7 years ago, where he was getting a little bit older. He has that experience, but he helps, bring in those younger guys. The Christian Kirks, really going to have a lot more open space. And it's going to help Kenyon Drake, too, at running back. And then that all helps Kyler Murray. This team's going to run so many plays, and I would love to get into, wide receiver 3s and 4s, but I don't know how much their target shares are going to be truncated on this team, and I don't know how much it's going to be spread out. So I think, any of those guys that haven't, got a spot yet are worth rostering if you have them. I don't even know how to prioritize them. I don't know if it's Butler. I don't know. I don't know who is going to be that next guy to come in, and if they even if they run a majority of the plays, whether they're going to be valuable or not. Because I don't know. Is the big question for me this year, is Hopkins going to get his usual 160 targets, or is this gonna hurt him in the target area, moving to Arizona where they run 4 wide sets? I don't care about the tight end at all in this offense. I think it's all wide receiver and running back. Any thoughts there, Brad?
Well, yeah, I mean, a tight end probably could get involved if they had a good one. When you're trotting out like Max Williams and some of these guys, I mean, you just don't have anything. They ran like 500 plus pass attempts, last year. I know they got over 350 rushing attempts. I mean, it confirms all the things that you said. Drake should get somewhere from 250 to 300 rushing attempts. And that's huge because he's going to knock it out of the ballpark with that. He's a dynamic runner, really good out of the backfield, catching the ball as well. Kyler Murray, obviously, if you haven't gotten him, you're not getting him because he looked good as a rookie, which everybody thought he'd struggle, but he looked really good as a rookie, and he's only going to get better. Other than that, I agree completely. I wouldn't touch tight end until they get one. Jason, what do you think?
I totally agree with everything. Tight end is a no-go for me. The nice thing about Drake, though, is Miami didn't even know how to use him. So there's plenty of tread on the tires, and this kid's gonna have a huge year, big time.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray. What's that?
Oh no, I thought you were done. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Oh no. Yeah, Kyler Murray. He's gonna be awesome. He's very young. He can sling the ball, and then bringing in DeAndre Hopkins is gonna be huge for him because he's gonna show Kyler what it is, and they're gonna be winning. I think so. They're gonna be really busy and they're gonna be throwing a lot, and I'm very excited for the Cardinals.
Yeah, I was just
Anthony.
gonna say that. Who's the host, Brad?
Who is the host?
No, I was just
Brad?
gonna say that Kenyon Drake, even going back to Alabama, right? Derrick Henry was there, and there was a lot of stuff. He didn't get a lot of work there either. So he does have a lot of tread on the tires. That's all I was gonna say. Anthony.
Well, I know Pro Football Focus has the Arizona Cardinals with the easiest strength of schedule for tight ends. And I know there's not a lot of tight ends on this team that we're really excited about, but I think that's
If this dude pumps up Dan Arnold right now, he's fired.
Max Williams is the guy that I've been stashing in 2 tight end leagues. Yeah. And of them all, I think he has the best shot. So, again, 2 tight end leagues or tight end premium leagues, Max Williams, I think, is the end of the bench stash. That's all I'm going to say.
I will say Max Williams was the first tight end taken in his class. But that was also 8 years ago, and I don't know if we're gonna have a Darren Waller 2 years in a row, right? Darren Waller had been in the league for like 6 years before he broke out. Devontae Parker syndrome, right? 5th, 6th year breakout. Yeah. All right. Oh man, I love it. Jason, Seahawks.
Yes, sir. So we got Russell. He was asking them to throw more, and I think he's going to get his wish. He's a 2-way quarterback. He's the guy can make all the throws on the field. He can do everything you want. He's everything you want in a franchise quarterback, and he's still pretty young. And then we got Chris Carson at running back. I don't know if he's going to be healthy enough, to be honest. I think Carlos Hyde's going to chip in and take a lot of touches away from him just because. I'm really high on Rashad Penny, who's kind of a sleeper. You can put him on your IR, stash him for later on in the year. I think he's their most talented back with the most promise. And then you got Lockett, who's one of the most slept on wide receivers out there. He's very consistent. He's one of Russ's favorite targets. DK Metcalf, he's one of the bigger known names that's molding into the alpha. But I think he's gonna put up touchdowns and a lot of yards. He's got a lot of promise. But I think Lockett's still, he's going to be commanding a lot of the work. And then we got Olsen. That's the tight end. He'll be the security blanket. He can still make plays, but I don't think they're going to ask too much of him.
All right, Anthony, what do you think about Seahawks?
Well, I guess since I'm on a tight end kick, I think Disley is the tight end to own in Seattle. I mean,
stash.
He just got hurt when you said his name.
Oh, did he?
Yep.
Again?
Busted eardrum.
No, he's back. He's back. I saw a video of him running. I think he's.
I know he's
Did you guys see the video?
Boss.
I actually saw the video of him running. Yeah. No, but I think Disley. I mean, I don't want any Olsen. I mean, if you can sell Olsen for a 4th round pick, I'd just do that. He's kind of like Fitz at this stage. But yeah, no, I think Disley is the tight end. Running back, I mean, I'd rather have Carson myself. I think he has the most promise, especially this season, as long as he can stay healthy. That's kind of the big if. But, long term, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think if I'm looking to just stash a guy and hope he turns out, it would be Penny. Brad, any thoughts on the Seahawks?
I got a couple. I wouldn't sleep on any of these running backs because you can make the case that any one of them gets significant playing time. Chris Carson can't stay healthy. Penny gets hurt a lot. So then, okay, Carlos Hyde could be a thing. Carlos Hyde is getting older, so maybe if the other 2 guys get hurt and Hyde isn't effective, DJ Dallas or some of these other younger guys may get a shot. I mean, which also at the same time makes you go, man, like, can one of these guys just stay healthy and take the reins? Because this is an offense that's really good to the running back. I mean, we've seen it over the years. They produce really solid running backs. So I've tried to own bits and pieces, whichever, basically in my mind, it's whichever one I can get to cheapest. So mostly I have DJ Dallas shares. I think I got a couple of Carlos Hydes for basically free off the waiver wire. I mean, you want to take a shot and put a chip on the table with them. I hope they pass more because they've got some really good receivers. Outside of that, I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, they're a solid team all around, and I hope they pass more for the sake of guys like DK Metcalf because he's a big play threat and can be a big play threat. But Tyler Lockett's Russ's guy, like he trusts him. So as long as he's healthy, he's going to get probably the lion's share of the targets. Rick, what do you think?
I don't care about any running back not named Carson on this team. He's the only one that I feel comfortable can go both sides of the running back coin with rushing and receiving. He showed last year he was very good as a receiver out of the backfield. Obviously, he had that 3-game stretch with the fumbles, and then everybody start talking about how he's got fumble issues and he never had before, and after that he had pretty much cleared him up, and they said he's our guy, we're sticking with him. Right. Penny can't stay on the field. He's shown with some of the touches that he's got, the limited touches he's got in his career, that he does have some ability there, but we still don't know if he can pass block because he hasn't been on the field long enough to miss a block, and he just can't stay healthy. So and then Hyde's just, I mean, he's like Frank Gore 2.0 now. He's gonna get you 3.5, 4 yards a carry, and he's not gonna catch the ball very much. So you don't have the PPR upside. So if it's not Carson, I'm staying away. If Carson's healthy, I think he's a steal at his current price. But the receivers, it's such a truncated target share, right? It's going to be DK Metcalf and Lockett for most of the passing, the receiving. And then I do agree, Disley, if he's healthy, is probably the better tight end. But now they're going to cannibalize each other because Olsen's going to play because they brought him in. So that sucks. But DK, as a rookie, led the league in end zone targets. Like, what more do you want out of a big receiver, right? Is somebody getting a lot of end zone targets and touchdown upside from one of the best passers in the NFL. I love DK. Lockett, though, wasn't far behind him in end zone targets. They're the two guys, and both of them can play, and you can put them in your lineup. And yeah, you might get a dud, 3 weeks, 4 weeks out of the season, but most weeks they're gonna put up some really solid fantasy numbers for you, and then they're both gonna probably have a few really big weeks for you and help you win your weeks, just because they've got one of the best quarterbacks. All right. Any last notes there on Seattle?
No.
Brad, those Rams. The Rams. Yeah, I mean, they're another team that you kind of know who you're working with there. They got Goff at quarterback. I know folks, it seems like he's one of those quarterbacks that people either love or hate, but he's consistent. He's going to give you 4,000 plus yards. He's going to give you 20 plus touchdowns. I mean, he doesn't give you a lot on the ground, so that loses some of the appeal, but I like him. I'm fine with him. Running back, the only running back I have interest in is Cam Akers. I know Malcolm Brown is kind of the guy that's getting the first team reps from what I've read. I know, obviously Darrell Henderson is another guy, but I don't really care for either of those running backs. It's kind of the Cam Akers show in my mind once he's ready. Wide receiver, obviously we know Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods are the stalwarts there. The interesting thing is between Cooks and Gurley, those are 100 plus targets in the passing game that are gone. So I'm interested to see how they distribute those between, some of the running backs or Van Jefferson, Josh Reynolds. Those are a couple wide receivers that are going, much cheaper. So those are guys that you could try to target that, might give you better value than what they cost right now. Tight end, the tough thing with tight end is they've got three that are valuable. They've got Gerald Everett, Tyler Higbee, and then they drafted in the 4th round Bryson Hopkins. It'll be interesting to see how they divvy it up. I know Tyler Higbee led the team in targets from the tight end position, led the tight end group in targets last year. So it'll be interesting to see. I think Gerald Everett's kind of a bigger play threat. I think he has the ability to break big plays off better than Higbee, but Higbee seems to be the guy they like the most. So ultimately, in the end, I think they kind of, just like you talked about with Disley and Olsen, they cannibalize each other some to an extent. So it's hard to trust them anything more than kind of tight end twos. But this is an offense that you like pieces of. I mean, they like to move the ball through the air a lot. They throw a lot of balls. They're big on trying to run the ball. The downfall with these guys, their offensive line is just a dumpster fire. So that concerns me because they need to fix that, and they haven't really been. And their cap situation is just in the dumps as well. So this team I could see easily falling off a cliff quickly because they can't afford anybody. But we'll see. Jason, what do you think about the Rams?
Yeah, like you said about Goff, I mean, you either like him or you hate him kind of thing. I think he's still young. He's got a lot of potential still, to prove that he can still play, and he's going to get the chance to, obviously. And Akers, they just brought him in. I think he's going to be a stud. Kid's awesome. I was really high on him coming into the league, so I'm very excited to see what he can do. But my main question is, can Henderson, make an impact at all to, that running game? I know a lot of people are down on him, but, I mean, the guy's got a lot of, speed. Maybe he can bust a home run here and there. You got Kupp and Woods and, catching balls. They're going to be really busy. They're going to be the ones that are the producers, I think. And then Higbee, I think they like him more as a blocking tight end. I think Everett's more athletic tight end that can get the job done. I think that he should be on the field more and get more opportunity.
Yeah, I agree with mostly everything. Obviously, Woods and Kupp, just put them in your lineup and not worry about it too much. At tight end, Everett was actually leading the tight ends until he got injured, and then that's when Higbee exploded with Everett out. So who knows what's going to happen this year at tight end. I think Higbee was one of the biggest sells going into the offseason from 2019. And then at running back, I'm the same. Akers, that's all I care about. Somebody just asked me tonight, what's Malcolm Brown worth? I said a third, generously. That would be the most I would pay for him. And then I've never been a Darrell Henderson guy. And I don't know that he's got talent to be a big somebody to take a lot of carries in that backfield. I think that's just Akers' job, and obviously with COVID and everything, it may take a little bit of time to get there. But Akers was my 1B to Dobbins 1A at running back in this rookie class. So I'm also excited, but it's also a situation where you might look at his efficiency in year one and say, it doesn't look like he's very good. But if they improve that offensive line going forward, you could see an efficiency uptick if it's not there in 2020. So don't give up on this guy 8 weeks into the season because he's averaging 3.6 yards per carry or something. That offensive line's not going to be very good. Anthony.
Yeah, no, I agree. As much as I love being here with you guys tonight, I can't wait to – I have all my DVR Hard Knocks, and I can't wait to see if they show Akers a little bit more. I'm really pumped for him. I agree with everything you guys said. I never liked Henderson, and like you said with Malcolm Brown, yeah, if you can get a third, get a third. That is not someone that I have any faith in as well. So, I agree. This is all Akers from here on out.
All right, that is it for the Rams, and that leaves us with the 49ers, and it's Anthony's team. There's probably be a short conversation. We need it to be short. It's already 10:23 here, but right after this, we are going to draw the winner of the contest, so make sure you keep your eyes open for that if you're in it. 49ers, let's talk, Anthony.
Yeah, hopefully they don't have the slump losing the Super Bowl. But injuries are hurting them right now. We talked about Hurd earlier. I did confirm his agent said he did tear his ACL. That is confirmed. But at quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy G, I think he had a very solid year last year. I think that since he's now a full year recovered from his injury, he should continue that. The concern now is who do they have to throw the ball to? Kittle, I think, is the best tight end in the league. I don't think it's a question personally. At wide receiver, Debo's banged up. He may miss a few weeks. It's not confirmed yet. He's going to start the year and miss 6 weeks. He might only miss 1 or 2 weeks, so we'll see. He's obviously, at this point, the most solidified and best wide receiver they have. Although Ayuk, who they drafted, rookie, is getting a lot of hype right now. And I think even Shanahan said that he's far ahead of all these other rookies they have on their team. He's picking up the offense really fast. So that's good to see. They're going to need him early on if they're going to try to make a run toward that title again. We kind of talked about Dante Pettis. If this is the year he's going to break out, it's going to be this year. Jason said earlier, if you can sell him now, he would. I think kind of the opposite. If you have space, this is the time to just put him at the end of your bench and see if something happens, because he's virtually free at this point, so why not? Otherwise, the other wide receivers they have, Bourne, Taylor, I don't think they're really fantasy relevant, nothing really much to go there. And then at running back, Mostert. He had the
It's your team, man. Pronounce their names right.
This guy, he's 28 years old. He's great if you need a win now. But by the time you figure out how to pronounce his name, he's going to be retired anyway. So if you're winning now, start him. He was very efficient last year. Should continue that. Tevin Coleman, I don't think he's worth the price. He's also aging. Not really my thing. And then McKinnon, kind of like Pettis, he has so much upside as like a lottery ticket. If you have the roster space, I think McKinnon is a great ad because he just has, again, so much upside. They've paid him so much money already, and he's done nothing, and they've kept him along. So of the running backs, I think if you're win now, it's Mostert. If you have some room and are looking for a prayer, it's McKinnon. And go Niners.
Boo. Boo this man for calling our listeners and watchers basically stupid. Nice guy you are there, Anthony.
How'd you end up with the Niners?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. Who selects these teams? Yeah. So wide receiver it's Ayuk. I even said this after Samuel was injured. Like, they're going to need Ayuk at the beginning of the season. And when you draft a guy that high, he's going to get the opportunity. But at the same time, this team might run the ball 800 times this year. Right. we might see that like 80-20 split, 80 rushes and 20% passes throughout the season. So I agree. Mostert is going to be a monster this year because he's going to get so many touches as long as he remains healthy. Kittle, we don't have to talk about. He's a beast. Coleman's going to have his games. Figuring out this running back room is going to be one of those headaches that you're going to have to deal with in 2020. I think Mostert's the only one that's guaranteed touches. And then you're going to have the weeks where McKinnon catches like 9 balls because he's not going to rush any because he's not a good rushing running back. And then you're going to have, Jeff Wilson coming in and vulturing 3 touchdowns 2 times this year. And it's going to be one of those frustrating things. But they're going to run the ball a lot. So a lot of these running backs could have some value as flex plays, even though I'm not a big fan of them. We say it all the time, touches equal points in fantasy football. So if they've got the opportunity, there's going to be some points there. Brad?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of this 49ers offense. I really only like Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle, and then Mostert for the short term.
You just listed all their guys.
Yeah. That's not true. I don't like Pettis. I don't like Tevin Coleman. I don't like Jarrett McKinnon. I don't like Jimmy G. I don't, there's plenty of guys I don't like. I was trying to keep it positive. If you want me to flip it? Jimmy G, I don't like him. I'm not interested in them.
Better-
I don't like San Francisco. 49ers suck.
Better NFL offense than fantasy offense, right? It just gets spread out too much. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying, Brad?
Yeah.
No, I say the 49ers suck. Yes, I agree with you.
Jason.
I'm just messing with Anthony. Jason.
Yeah, they're so hard to predict as an offense. I mean, they like to spread the ball around and do, all sorts of stuff. They do all sorts of crazy plays, and that's just with their head coach. I mean, he's a genius. The guy calls a great game. But yeah, Garoppolo, I'm not really a big fan of him, honestly, but I think he'll be much improved. He's still got, he's still young in the league, and you got Mostert is who I'll call him.
That's his third name today?
Yeah. Right.
You say Mustard?
Mostert.
Mustel.
I like it.
Yeah. I mean, he's gonna get the touches. He's their guy. McKinnon, he's got a shot to catch some passes, and then I think they're gonna see what their shiny new weapon can do. Ayuk, I think he's gonna have a big year, and like you said, Rick, they're gonna be counting on him early because Debo went down, and then you got Kittle, who they're gonna be double teaming him, but obviously he's one of the best tight ends, if not the best in the league.
Yeah.
One name we did. Oh, go ahead. I was just gonna say.
Oh,
One
no,
name we
I
didn't
was-
throw out is
Okay, am I going or are you going? You tell me, host.
You know what?
Who is it?
Rick, go ahead.
Who is it?
Who's the guy?
So what about Ahmad Salvan? That'd be a running back, kind of a. He's their number 4 running back, but he was a guy.
Number
that,
4? He's number 5.
That's a guy.
Number 5, yeah, Jeffrey Wilson. I forgot him. Well, he was a guy that Shanahan talked up post draft. So I was throwing it out there to Leone, but he doesn't know his team very well. So
No, I mean I know who you're talking about, the undrafted
Well-
free agent. But no, I would not
Well,
waste the roster.
They could have 4 running backs get 200 rushing attempts. And he could be the 4th because McKinnon's not getting 200.
true.
So
Yeah, he
who
could get
knows?
hurt.
They're going to run the ball a lot. I was going to answer Goofy's question because it pertains to the 49ers. And he said, if Kittle goes down to injury, who would you call his backup? I think his backup is easily Jordan Reed. But Jordan Reed also has to be healthy at the same time that Kittle is injured. That's the tough part about that equation.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was excited as a Niner fan with the Jordan Reed signing, just as like a football, playmaker, especially now without having really any
Quickly.
wide receivers on the team. So yeah, no, I agree. Jordan Reed is the backup to Kittle.
You think
Yeah.
they'd put both on the team or on the same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll run
Certainly.
some double tights for sure.
Yeah,
they don't have
certainly.
any. They don't have any
Yeah.
wide
They
receivers.
like the big
Yeah.
set. Yeah.
They're like,
I mean, he can see action if he's healthy.
Jordan Reed's healthy. Do we put him out there or Dante Pettis?
Yeah.
Jordan Reed for the 2 plays that he's healthy, and then Dante Pettis comes in and makes us all remember why he wasn't on the field. I just, speaking of Reed, we joke, and it's really not that funny because dude, concussions are serious, and I hope that guy can stay healthy because for those that have been around for a while, if you remember Jordan Reed before he had all these injuries, like the dude was a freak, and I would love to see him, kind of like we talked about Alex Smith and him, making a comeback. It would be great to see Jordan Reed, even if it's not to the, level that he was before the injuries, to see him come back and at least be able to play in the NFL and
Yeah.
and all that would be great because the dude's talent was immense. He's one of the most, when it comes to talent, he is one of the most talented tight ends that we've seen over the last 10 years. Right up there with Gronk and Kelsey and Kittle. Like that's the type of talent that this dude had, and hopefully he can stay healthy and avoid those concussions. But yeah, not relevant enough unless Kittle is injured though. Okay, that is it for the 49ers, and now we get to give away a prize.
Love
So
it.
hopefully, as many of you as possible are in the chat. We had 53 people enter the contest between Facebook and sending me emails. So I've got them, and I apologize, Jason. I'm going to cover you up for a second. Not, I did. Maybe I'll just maybe it'll be Brad. Maybe we'll just cover up Brad. It won't let me move it now. There we go. Cover up Brad.
It knows better.
He's the guest, right? Okay, so here we go. I got in this list. I have all 53 people that entered. I'm going to randomize this list 7 times, and whoever is on top is our winner. And you will have the choice of either Madden 2020 or Madden 2021. I'm not going cheap on you. I'm not buying you last year's game. Madden 2021 MVP edition, or you can choose a Fanatics gift card for $100 to buy your favorite fan gear heading into the season. So we're gonna go ahead and get this done.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, Ryan Furlong was on top for the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, one more time.
7. Jacob Miller, you are the winner. Winner. I will either tag you on Facebook or shoot you an email, and you can let me know which you are choosing, and then I will get that ordered for you. So you'll either have Madden on the day it comes out, or you will have a Fanatics gift card in your inbox, so you can buy whatever it is that you want to buy. Once again,
Congrats.
Jacob Miller. I'm going to go ahead and change this text here before we answer these questions we've got. Jacob Miller. And we want to thank everybody that has subscribed and turned on notifications. We finally hit that 1,000 mark. It was a rough go. We went above 1,000 and then dropped below 1,000, then above, then below, and then above, and then below, and then it was like this weird thing. I think people were just messing with us. But we got there, and we are now YouTube partners, and it's been a hustle, a grind to get there, and we appreciate every single one of you that tune in every week. There's a couple guys that I gotta throw a shout out to, CXK and Joz Whedon. Literally back when we only had one person watching our videos when we started this whole thing, it was one of them, and then the second one came along, and they've been here for the go at it, and we appreciate you guys. We appreciate everybody though. But yeah, finally got there on YouTube. We feel like we're joining the big boy club, and everything's growing real fast, and we look forward to this 2020 season that we're getting ready to get into. It's going to be here before we know it. So yes, thank you all very much. Now to get to some of these questions.
Right on.
If you're not subscribed, just do it. I'm probably going to do more
Do it right
giveaways.
now.
I like giving stuff away.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do some more. So make sure you're sub there. Turn on them notes.
Steal your mom's phone and subscribe her and whatever you can do. I got my kids all subscribed.
The
So
notification bell. Oh yeah. Do everything.
I just seen the comment Mike Knoll made at the beginning. Said, "Of course, the bald face hates on the beautiful beard. I can't grow a beard. Can't do it. I'm jealous. I won't lie to you. Won't lie to you at all." Okay, so questions. Going through here. Okay, so somebody says the fringe players for KC are obviously solid lottery tickets, but which one is the one you should roster? Personally, I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. I'm personally in Dynasty rostering Darwin Thompson. I targeted him all off season. I still think that he's a guy that could have some fantasy value even without an injury. They were very high on him a year ago, and I feel like he's going to get an opportunity to get some work in. But these guys are all free, and I'm guessing most of them aren't going to just be available. But you're gonna have to pick your poison because um, I don't think especially at running back that there is a guy that stands out above the rest when it comes to that. It's just a bunch of lottery tickets, and you buy some and hope you hit on one. Any thoughts on any of that? Anybody?
No, I agree. I agree 100%.
I think you can just go get DeAndre Washington. He was Pat's teammate in college. They know how each other play. I think if CEH falters, it's going to be DeAndre. He's going to get a shot, but I doubt CEH is going to falter. To be honest, I also like Darwin a lot. I think he's a little engine that could. So I would pick him up too. Any of their running backs are good. But yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, Lynn Bowden, is he a Curtis Samuel clone, and is he the direct backup to Jacobs if you can only take one backup from Vegas? One running back backup from Vegas. Brad.
Yeah, probably because Jalen Richard is not really a running back. He's more of the receiving back out of the backfield. So I would guess, man, that's a tough one though. But I like Lynn Bowden enough that I'd roster him. So yeah, why not?
Jason or Anthony?
Oh, Jason.
Lynn Bowden's my guy. I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I honestly don't know. I mean, last year Jacobs got hurt, and the next thing we know, Marshawn Lynch is running back. So
Yeah, they could just sign. I mean, if that happened, they could just sign Freeman. I mean, they could do a number of things. But of everyone who's on their team now, I think Bowden would be the direct replacement in case that happened.
Gruden likes old guys, so who knows? But yeah, I would say Bowden's probably the guy that I would want to roster ahead of Richard because I think Richard is just a one-dimensional player. Not that Lynn Bowden might also be. I don't know yet.
Yeah, we'll see.
Doesn't Jacobs' broken shoulder kind of explain why he didn't have a lot of catches last year? The dude he averaged 2 targets per game, and that explains why he didn't have a lot of receptions. He played, I think it was 13 games and had 27 targets. So he wasn't utilized in that even when he was healthy. He wasn't utilized in the passing game very much. So I don't know that you can blame it on the broken shoulder. Drew Lock, is he the skeleton key to unlock everyone, or is he the restrictor or the carburetor? Anthony, I'll let you answer that question.
We'll see. I mean, this is kind of a make it or break it year, I think, for Locke. A lot of inconsistencies last year. Now he has a lot of tools to play with here. So I'm optimistic. I think he has the upside. I think he has the ability, and I think that he will take a step forward. But it's very possible it kind of blows up in his face, and that wouldn't surprise me either.
Brad?
Yeah, I mean, it's so tough. Like, Drew Lock's one of those guys that last year you liked him, but he was so inconsistent. This year, I don't know that he's gonna. I'm gonna lean with Anthony. Yeah, I think he'd be the guy to really help unlock things, but it could go either way. Jason.
Yeah, I know. He's gonna get the opportunity, and this is make it or break it. We'll see what he's got. They put the weapons around him, so. He could go either way, of course, but a lot of people are very high on him. And I think he's got the talent to do it.
Am I missing something? When did Drew Lock come into the league?
Last year.
Why the hell is it make it or break it? He's a second-year quarterback. He's still growing. Everybody's like it's make it or break it. I understand they brought in a lot of talent, but Jerry Jeudy's still young. Noah Fant's still a second-year tight end. Sutton's still young. I just don't think that it's make it or break it for him. But I think that
look at Josh Allen. I mean, Josh Rosen.
Josh Rosen was bad.
Okay.
Bad. Like,
and if
bad.
Locke is bad, if Locke is bad.
I mean,
Locke wasn't Rosen bad.
Okay, if anybody's Rosen bad, then they're then they're on that, right? They're going to have trouble, right? But even Trubisky got 3 years before they brought in competition. Drew Lock, I don't think is on the seat. I think they like the talent. It's going to have to grow, and the talent around him is going to have to grow too. He doesn't have a veteran presence to help on that offense, and and especially in the wide receiver room. You know, all those guys are young. They're all learning the league. That, you know, it's kind of like, you know, Baker Mayfield's rookie year, a lot of young guys on that offense. They did have Jarvis Landry, but, you know, hopefully we see the Broncos call a better game than the Browns did for Baker in his first 2 years. So I don't think it's make or break for him, but I do think that he is the key to that offense, and if he plays well, that offense can score a lot of points.
Yeah, I respect that.
Lev Bell.
Trubisky did have a Pro Bowl season though. Am I wrong there? I mean, it's not like Trubisky was like Josh Rosen, right? I mean,
Look at Trubisky's rookie year, because that's what we're comparing right now. Trubisky's rookie year? No,
Wasn't it?
no.
Or was that a second?
The second year, and he got there off of rushing, and he was a replacement. Like, I think 4 quarterbacks got hurt, and a couple were in the playoffs. So he was like the 5th alternate or something that got in. So
Gotcha.
I mean, they were almost out of quarterbacks, and that's how he got a Pro Bowl spot. Let's not get it twisted.
all right.
Okay, so Dino swap: Lev Bell in 206 or Connor and Breeze. Brad.
Is it a trade?
Is it a 1 QB? What'd you say?
It's all I have. The only info I have is Dino swap. Which side? Lev Bell in 206 or Connor and Drew Brees. That's all the information I've got.
Well, I'd go Bell in the 206.
I agree.
Anybody
I got
disagree?
Breeze if you need the quarterback. I mean, if you really are hurting for a quarterback, I'd go with Breeze, but he's going to be done in a few years. If you need to win now, that might be a trade to make, but obviously the value is probably in the running back and the pick.
I don't. In 1 QB, I don't care about Breeze at all. Obviously, I think if it's a super flex, it's an easy deal.
Right.
And you take the Connor Breeze side. 'Cause I think Connor's one of the underrated guys, but in 1 QB, I wouldn't trade Bell for Connor. Bell might catch 100 passes this year. That Jets team's gonna need to utilize him a lot to have any success. So that ends our questions. That ends our episode. I want to thank everybody again. I want to say congrats to our boy Jacob Miller on winning the choice of Madden 2021 MVP edition or a $100 Fanatics gift card. So I will be in touch with you and everybody else. Make sure you follow these guys. TikTok for Anthony. He's making some great videos over there. Roto Heat Brad on Twitter and Roto Heat Jabled on Twitter. And you can follow me if you'd like, Roto Heat Rick. And we will be back next Tuesday. Tomorrow is a 3-round redraft mock draft on the Fantasy Inferno. So tune in, 9:30 Eastern. Thank you. Don't forget, make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any more fantasy football content from the RotoHeat.com team. Also, right there, playlist. Hit it. Watch the videos. Do it. You want to.